Matt, let's get right into it. These are in no particular order. You can draw your own conclusions. But Jamari is a guy that Georgia needs to have a good season.
Yeah, he was one of the top offensive line prospects that I've ever covered. He's got the size, he's got the strength, and he was a guy who we thought, especially me, who could play early, meaning as a freshman. This is year 3 for him out of the 2018 class, and they need starters. They need guys to step up on this offensive line. I think he's certainly one of the ones who stands out. He played a good bit last year, played especially in the Sugar Bowl, and came in when guys were a little banged up here and there. He's versatile. He could play a number of different positions, but I think he's a guy who could step up and maybe take one of those tackle jobs. But with as much talent that he has, and he came in highly regarded and still has an NFL future in my mind, I think this is a really, really critical year for Jamari if he wants to be a 3-and-out guy like I think we all thought he would coming in.
So Tyson Campbell is on our list, and he's a guy that he certainly was a high-level guy, too. This Georgia defense doesn't have a lot of holes. I'm not saying that Tyson is a hole. In fact, most of the people that we talk about here in this list are pretty good players, if not very good players for Georgia. But they need to step up. Georgia's going to have to figure out the secondary a little bit because of the departures back there. And Tyson Campbell's a guy that really should step up and have a good season. If he doesn't, then they're going to be wandering just a little bit. They've got guys, though. That's the thing. That's why, though, someone with Campbell who's entering his junior season, this really should be the time where he flourishes.
Yeah, again, he's another guy from that top-ranked 2018 class who has NFL potential. You talk about a guy who he's like 6'2", 2.5, and he came in known as a speedster with some height and length and ball skills, and we've seen some of those ball skills. And again, he's a guy who's played a good bit, but they play so many guys back there. They're going to need someone to continue to step up, and he's a guy who could be a first-round guy. I think he's got first-round talent still, and if he continues to work and improve, he could be. I don't see why he couldn't. When you're running that fast and you've got that body type and you're being coached, by a Kirby Smart who has done this pretty well over the past 10, 12 years, put DBs in the NFL. And I think if you're Tyson with a good year, you could really get paid and have the potential to be a top pick next year. But he's going to have to continue to make more plays. He's a good cover guy, and we've seen that, but maybe make a little bit more plays and continue to help this Georgia defense be one of the best in the country.
Someone besides George Pickens is going to have to be a receiver of note for Georgia, and consistency is the issue for Matt Landers. I mean, we've seen sort of the circus stuff that he can do, but you don't have to do circus stuff all the time. A lot of this is just being consistent with catches and so forth. I think if Matt Landers has a good 2020, Georgia could be very good because you already have George Pickens. I mean, George Pickens is as good as a receiver as they've had since A.J. Green.
Yeah, Don Blaylock is going to be a key guy in here as soon as he gets healthy, but Matt Landers, another guy who could be a deep threat for you. It just didn't seem like he had a ton of chemistry with Jake Fromm. Maybe even a little chemistry with Jamie Newman would go a long way, and they can connect on more passes that barely didn't between Fromm and Landers. It seemed like there were some opportunities, just couldn't get it done, whether it was the ball was out of bounds or he couldn't get his foot in bounds, just stuff like that. But again, he's 6'5" and can make those acrobatic catches, and he's been in the system, it seems like, since World War II now he's been on the team. But I think it is his 4th year, and that he's not getting any shorter. So we'll see. I think he could be that big playmaker on the outside that they would love to have opposite of George Pickens.
So a big play guy that was really certainly a big play guy in high school but has become more of a bruiser at Georgia is Amir White. Amir is a guy that was as gifted a player as I've seen play in high school football. We've not yet seen that at Georgia, but we've seen him be a pretty good back. I just know that he can be a pretty freaky back. And it's hard, though, to have expectations that a guy coming off 2 ACLs a year later should be ruling the world. For Zamir, I think if he has a breakout, season, if he steps up in 2020, that could be real trouble for the other guys.
Well, he's definitely going to be dependent on. You don't want to depend on a Kenny McIntosh, who's a good player. James Cook, he's not a true running back. He's getting most of his touches on those little jet sweeps and around the outside anyway. And then you don't want to rely solely on a freshman, Kendall Milton or Edwards either. So they're going to be looking for Amir White to step up, and he probably has lost a little bit of that speed and explosiveness, but the guy can still break tackles and push the pile forward and get tough yards, and they're going to need a lot of that from him this year.
So the final person we're going to talk about, we're saying Jamie Newman with the assumption that he will be the starting quarterback in the fall. But this person can be whoever the starting quarterback is at Georgia. The quarterback play at Georgia last year fell, and Jake Fromm was not the same guy he was the 2 seasons before. Certainly not as efficient as he was his junior or his sophomore season. If Georgia can get quality playmaking play, consistent play from the quarterback spot, there's going to be as good as anybody in the country.
They could have a special season if that quarterback can get going. But again, Jamie Newman is on like top 5 Heisman odds right now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of hype with this kid.
Well, but from who? I mean, I don't think anybody on the Georgia beat is saying this guy is going to. I mean, I just said I'm assuming he will win the starting job this fall, but I'm not, saying it's certain.
He's got the tools, and I get it, and he brings that mobility that Georgia fans are excited to see from a quarterback, and could add another element to this offense. That's what the staff is expecting.
I'm going to talk over the top of you here and just say what the big thing is to me about Newman or whoever the quarterback is. Jake Fromm was extremely clutch at times, but he was inconsistent last year, and I wonder if Jake would have had to be as clutch in moments if they were more consistent on offense. It wouldn't have to be clutch. So I think what I would like to see out of the quarterback spot is consistency in the passing game specifically. And if you can get that and depend on 190 yards or above in the pass game, Georgia will be back in Atlanta, and from that point forward, it's hard to know what will happen.
Well, that's why the spring is so important. You want, a new guy, quarterback, well, both, he and Carson Becker, new guys coming in. You want them to establish a chemistry and a relationship with these wide receivers, because a lot of these receivers coming in are really, really good. So it's really important. A lot of them obviously coming in the summer, but they're going to need Jamie to, be that guy who can help these young receivers and get them going in the passing game. And he's got one of the nation's best in George Pickens, but like we said earlier, someone else is going to have to step up to not only help the receiving corps, but to help out Jamie Newman as well, who, again, has the tools, and a lot of people think he's going to be, maybe better than I think he is going to be. I think he'll be fine. I'm not saying he's going to come out and have this Joe Burrow type of season, but who knows? Maybe with this offensive style, if everything does start to click for this offense, they could have a special season, because we know how good the defense is going to be.
Speaking of special seasons, how long does Kirby Smart get until he needs to have a special season and win the national championship? You can watch that right here above us. Go ahead and check it out. We'll see you on the other side.